Let's see if this is working. And it's on. Alright. Welcome home, Vandal. Thank you for joining us tonight, Mac. I know you don't get out a whole lot, but we're still hanging out in Capital. But we are going to my apartment now.
Interesting.
It's not a whole lot. It's a single room with a bed in it, but it's where, you know, Rook and I live, so. He lives here, too. That's why he's here.
Yeah, I live about 3 floors up. Nice, two room, I believe.
No, it's one room with a thing in the middle.
It's a divider, but still.
Here.
I've seen this place a few times.
Alright.
It's just,
This is our stop, Mac.
never been in here.
We'll see you, Vandal.
Alright.
See ya. See ya.
Huh. This is interesting.
Hang on, I gotta get in.
This is where your living quarters are?
Yep. Awesome. Said I could afford this after I did a thing for Heresy. They had us hunt down some demons. So they paid me a shit ton of money, which is chump change now, but this is where I call home. I do this occasionally where I just talk my ear off with this camera, but sometimes just some alone time with me and myself is good. It's how I keep myself from going insane. I remember I told you earlier, I hate leaving myself alone with my thoughts, so instead of that, I leave myself alone with my voice, because I have the nicest voice in all of Capital, and I talk the shit out of myself. Here we go. Have a seat wherever you want. You can sit on the bed, you can sit in the chairs, on the bench, the floor. Hey, Rook.
It's very interesting. This place, it's surprising lack of metal.
Well, I'm sure you'll find a lot of metal underlying pretty much. Stop fucking pecking shit.
I assume this crow belongs to you.
Oh, I would say belongs, but he lives here.
Alright.
He just showed up one day and started hanging out. Probably because I feed him, but I'm gonna take this shit off. Ugh.
That's there.
Like I said, his name's Rook.
Name's Rook. Okay.
That was before I found out that
Strong name.
Rooks were giant machines that the carriage uses to destroy stuff. Not so much anymore, I guess, but
I've had the glory to see 2 Rooks in action during my service. 2 of them. It was very good to watch.
yeah. I've only seen one, and it was suffering the after effects of the EYX virus and tried to kill us. So, yeah, that kind of sucked. But we dealt with it, and I got to see a Rook fight in full glory, even though if it was trying to kill us. Other than that, I don't have any very fun stories to share with you. I'm not actually that old. Once I died, I pretty much enlisted almost instantly, so I didn't spend much time in the carriage. Outside of, you've probably served in the carriage longer than I have been in hell.
About
If that is weird to think about.
2.5 years now.
I have been in hell for less than a year. And I've been in the carriage for 8 months. Let that sink in.
Yeah, it's been a long, well, I say a long time. Long to me is relative to somebody else, but, yeah. It is interesting.
I guess so. Dude, I'm gonna fall asleep. Trying not to, but that graveyard shift was a nightmare. Shit.
I'm used to it.
I'm not. They've only just started putting me on it in graveyard shifts once I got it failing sergeant. Other than that,
Well,
today kind of sucked, I won't lie.
yes, it was rather bad.
Does that fall under the bad kind of day category for you? 'Cause that falls under the average kind of day for me.
Well, average, yes, that we get assaulted at our own barracks plenty of times by our adversaries.
Yeah.
But that's only twice we've been assaulted at this new barracks by, well, them.
Uh, I have only had the misfortune of having to deal with them a couple of times, but they actually have kind of they're kind of pushovers, not gonna lie. That might be
That's
inexperienced
because-
talking.
No. As far as I understand, I don't know if this is true or not, but they might be weakened down in our home turf. Maybe. I'm not sure. It's certainly different from fighting them on Earth.
Maybe. Why don't you come sit over here? Where the camera can see you, buddy. And not on my fucking key card. He's not that scary.
It's just I just don't understand the reason why they decided to invade our home, try to kill us there.
Fuck did you go? I honestly, I don't think about it. Hello. I don't think about it too much. I mean, honestly, they could be doing it for fun. But
Yeah.
it's like, whatever. They're bad guys. We're the good guys. I get paid to shoot them. So I look at it.
I heard that. Just today for me was actually, well, a very bad day.
That wasn't normal.
No, not at all, actually. Psychosis episodes do happen with many violence units, but they vary from person to person.
I see.
I never used to really have them before I got this body. Granted, my last body wasn't strong enough to really induce one anyways. I was comparable to a void back then. I was smaller, too. Shorter than you, actually. By a lot.
I think I saw that one actually.
Actually, I did visit 1010 in that form a few times, actually. So, yes, you more than likely have seen me at that state. That state is, if you've seen the new violence units that have been appearing, the new Soldats, the new Sniper,
I've seen it.
they're like, they're the new generation of experimental violence units, whereas, well, my other form is Generation 1, so to speak. Very old, very experimental. Patchmake chimera, so to speak. Because it's not just violence tech that ran that body, it was also fraud tech as well.
It was a mix of both.
Yes. Reliable tech from a friend that worked in the company known as Skyforge.
I've heard of it.
Very reliable stuff they have, and they collaborated with the violence scientists and put me back together. Albeit, had a lot of limitations, a lot of weaknesses, but at least I could still serve. I could still fight for the Altark. It was a struggle. I was slower, weaker, more vulnerable, but at least I can still hold a gun.
I gotcha.
That's all that mattered. That's all that mattered. As long as I could hold a weapon, fight with my comrades, achieve the Altarch's will, I was happy.
That's what makes me happy.
Despite all the...
And then Rook, but I mean, he's an extension of the
Yes.
Autarch's will, so.
Yeah.
Mentally wise, we pretty much share the exact same ideals. I mean, you pretty much just summed up my whole existence in a couple words. Other than that, I'm just kind of outside of the carriage. This is pretty much my life. It is this room. I might watch a video or something on HellTube, and it is feeding Rook. I've been thinking about getting a Gritch.
A Gritch.
You might be wondering why.
Interesting one.
Well, have you fucking seen one? They look so fucking stupid. I think it'd be awesome if I named it like Beer Getter Number 1. It's like, hey, $5 if you go get that beer from the table over there.
It would make a decent servant, to a degree.
Depends on how smart they are. But most people don't seem to care if you just pick one up off the street, so. So Double D came by during the graveyard shift. He actually had one. That's what sparked this whole idea. And it was smart enough to get in the car and drive it and then smash it into a wall. But it got the car started and was smart enough to use the steering wheel. So something tells me it could pick up a beer for me if I needed it to.
And as far as I've seen them, when they first started showing up, they were relatively smart for their suboptimal being.
For a lesser being.
One tried to bargain with us.
They usually come up with extra money. Go ahead.
Yeah, one tried to bargain. It had a $5 bill in its hand. And it tried to say to us, if we give it something, it was going to give us the $5 bill. And I sat there just, who's to say I can't just shoot you and take it?
Paper clips.
Of course,
I've been
actually,
told
that's what
Gritches love paper clips. I don't know why. It's just
Interesting. I've never really had the chance to really get close to a Gritch, except for that one patrol I was in back in the old barracks. Well, the Rathian shot it.
tell you what, if I get a Gritch,
After, like, 2 seconds.
you will be the first person that gets to meet it. How's that sound?
Alright. If I can get time off again, I'll stop by.
I'm sure I could arrange that. There are not a lot of people that'll tell Vikev no.
Yes, and I'm still happy that I was able to perform the services for Vikev. For his project that he's getting done, his warden that everybody knows about. Of
course.
I assume.
Well, not the
I was the one that
nitty-gritty.
spearheaded. Well, yeah, I was the one that spearheaded the development for his weapons on the warden.
Ooh. What kind, if I may
Yes.
ask? If I'm allowed to know.
It's nothing fancy. Just handheld cannon that he wanted something long range because he wanted to be more nimble. So I gave him the blueprints to a 40mm.
That's definitely not standard issue for a warden. I think that'll be an amazing asset to have out in the field. See, I was fortunate enough to get to work on that standard warden he was in tonight. See the inner workings of that.
Mm-hmm.
Did I say that already? Fuck. I'm losing it.
Oh, well. Well, and then I pulled a friend that I have. Their name is Hephaestus. A violence technician or mechanic like yourself.
You can call me a technician.
Company.
I'm certified with cybernetics. It counts.
Well, perfect. He was able to get the material needed for his Vikev's Warden's melee weapon. A grand weapon that I wanted to make sure was befitting of our High Lord General.
I should expect nothing less for Vikev.
Yes. Granted, it was probably outside of my range of, authority to get this made. And I'll probably see consequences for this in the future. But the weapon that I got devised is a large sword, the blade completely made of a slab of pure brimstone.
I can't see how that would get you in trouble.
Well, I'm only a war commissioner. I'm not trusted with brimstone.
You're not the one building it.
True.
I mean,
That is
sure,
true.
you could say you sanctioned it or drew up the blueprints, but fuck, I could do the same thing and then pay somebody to do the exact same thing. Like, I'm looking in, I might get in trouble for that. No, I can't imagine anyone would yell at me for that. I didn't do it. Well, maybe. I don't know where the line is, okay? Everything in the carriage is so gray. Nothing's black and white.
Yeah.
As much as they'd like it to be. Not to mention our barracks reeks of entitlement.
Yeah, it does. It's very interesting how I started. Day one, after being given the training, the gear, it's actually, like I said before, back on duty, I was a capital unit just like yourself. Standard issue, fresh off the boat. Day one. Died 5 times. Day one.
You know, speaking of dying, I didn't necessarily die on day one, but it was shortly after enlisting and going through basic and all that. My first death was the flunk, believe it or not.
My first death. Well, it wasn't a pleasant one. I, took a bullet from a sniper
Oof.
into my chest. That didn't kill me. It was the second shot that did. That went straight through my head.
I had the liberty of having all of my ribs broken by an alternator, and then having to fight with a soft chest for 10 minutes before succumbing to my injuries and being reincarnated by Flunk. So you could say the alternator killed me, but Flunk was the one that drove the nail in.
Right.
I suppose so, huh?
Those. Yeah. I've been ripped in half, torn limb from limb, grinded to a pulp. Disemboweled. You name it. They've done it.
I only caught the tail end of the Wax War, so I was not so fortunate to have any of that happen to me.
You are lucky.
I guess so.
Very, very lucky. The machines of EYX were designed not to just kill you. No, killing you was a mercy to them. What they would do is, they would kill you, yes, but in the most brutal way possible.
Right.
Where reincarnation, yes, it's painful, but reincarnation was relaxing compared to how they would kill you. I got to see that massacre firsthand.
Well, they didn't lighten up near the end. That's when they started to use guns.
Yes, I remember reading the reports on that. I could not be there. I wish I could have. But I was, well, I'm too augmented. EOX already figured out how to infect, well, units like myself. During that time, so me being there was too risky. So I had, well, he's dead now. A friend of mine, a glutton by the name of Korn. He and his brother went in my stead. As far as what I heard, Korn died on the battlefield protecting Vykev. Well, his warden chassis that he was in. He died a behemoth operator.
I never had the pleasure of meeting them.
And then there's his brother, Anna. As far as what I heard from them, they, well, in the final fight against EYX, they were basically cut in half. But it was Argent, so they didn't bleed out initially. And the Goliath suit they were in saved their life.
I was there for that, but not a mechanic at the time.
Yeah, as far as I understand now, they're currently entombed into a Goliath as a permanent operator.
I think I've heard the story.
Great for them. I'm just glad that vile machine is gone.
Oh, my body is screaming at me. Oh.
Yeah. I can't really feel the same way you do.
Be that a blessing or a curse.
It's maybe both. I'm not sure.
Has its ups and
I can
downs.
feel pain. Yes. I can feel pain, or I don't feel pain, or the pain is so much that it overloads my systems. Or, I had this happen once actually. I took a AP round straight to my abdomen, and it hit a coolant line inside my body, and I was just leaking coolant constantly until I freaking overheated. That wasn't fun.
No. But, at the very
Imagine
least,
your insides cooking like a boiled egg.
as long as I live and you're on station with me, that shouldn't never happen again. Well, provided I get to you before Crayley, as I don't outrank them in mechanical and cannot tell them to fuck off.
As much as I enjoy and appreciate their kindness, I almost killed them today.
Their heart is bigger than their brain, I
well.
will not deny that.
I didn't almost kill them. He almost killed them.
Well, let's not dwell on that, because even if he wanted to, you'd see him in 2 minutes anyways. And believe me, he's not the only one in the carriage that wants to kill Crayley.
I just wish they would have listened.
Crayley's stubbornness is starting to get to everyone in the carriage. They don't know when to take no as an answer, and it's starting to punish them. Slowly, but it's here and there. Being at the top of the mechanic tree pretty much means no one can say no to them. That being Flunk and a few mechanics that get stationed here every now and then.
And today was very different as well. I've never, in my entire service, had Vykev point his weapon at me. Never. Never been executed. That was the one thing he allowed me to see before, well, reincarnation.
Well, that bullet wasn't meant for you. It was meant for him.
Yeah.
Vykev is smarter than a lot of us and has been around longer than most of us. He wanted to get you back
Yes,
to
he has.
100% combat effectiveness as fast as possible. And that's the way he thought it would happen, and fortunately worked out that way. Can I say that was the best course of action? I don't know. But I know better than to question Vykev now.
Yeah. Ever since he actually took the time to, well, ask me for his help, or ask for help from me. Back when we were back at Barracks 758, when I was a commando third class back then. He came to me asking about, well, how I get my weapons, or where did I get them from? So, high respect for Vykev. He gave me the chance to at least prove I could do something.
Hmm.
And that's why, even though I've already saluted him many times, the reason I jumped off the floor and freaking saluted him again, because he wasn't supposed to see that. I was out of line.
I try to salute Vykev as often as possible too, but not out of his noble manner. Indoctrination has gotten a lot worse since I joined.
Yes. It's actually even more intense than, well, when I was put in. Way more intense. Because, well, I can't really talk about why. I'm just glad that one is dead.
Well, at this point it's habit for me, but right. If I stay up any longer, I'm gonna fall asleep in the middle of a conversation, and I don't want that to happen.
You're fine. You need your rest.
You are more than welcome to stay the night. I do not care. I've got to go back to the barracks in the morning anyways. But I am not going to send you home if you wish to stay. It's pretty much a custom at this point. I let all of my visitors stay at least one night before I kick them out. As long as you can get along with Rook if he comes back.
I have no reason to start a quarrel with the Altarch's Chosen.
I'd hope not. Well, like I said, I'm not that fat. I don't take up the whole bed. So, if you wish to sleep here, be my guest.
No worries. While I do require sleep, I don't need to be comfortable. I can sleep pretty much in any position.
Well, maybe it's the morality of it. It's not often you get a bed as nice as this, as the bunks don't really do it for me. I say nice,
Sure.
but
It's definitely a better bed than I've seen. I've only ever seen, well, the beds at 758 and the new beds at 1010. The third bed I've ever seen.
so how about we do this? You stay the night, and you get to sleep in a proper bed, and I will make sure that I keep you in top shape back at the barracks.
Alright. That's a fair trade, I guess.
It's a win-win for you.
I mean, before... technicians were around, well, I had to rely solely on Flunk to survive on the battlefield. Or, well, Zen when they were here. But only two, well, actually, no, three. It was Ace, Zen, and Flunk. The three individuals that could fix me.
Well, I'm glad to have made that list.
Yes. It's great to have another that can help keep me in tip-top shape.
Alright. Yeah, it's enough for tonight. Before I'm going to die if I don't